Not every automobile that is developed, built, and sold to the public is a success. In truth, automakers are as likely to introduce a dud as a success. Throughout the automobile's history, there have been several stinkers that just couldn't win over buyers. Many of their names have been scorched into the collective memory of the public. So, what are the very worst autos ever made? Listen in as we rank them. To begin, the Pontiac Aztek is ranked 10th. Pontiac developed the Aztek, their version of an SUV, at the start of the 2000s in order to capitalize on the growing demand for SUVs. Although the Pontiac division's Aztek was expected to be the company's savior, it ended up being the last nail in the division's coffin. The Aztek is without a doubt one of the most awful vehicles ever produced, which was the first thing that everyone noticed when GM launched the Aztek. Its deformed look is emphasized by traits such as its many eyes, weird back end, and unusual nostrils. Number 9. We have AMC Gremlin. Following its debut in 1970, the Gremlin immediately became renowned as the automobile that teenagers all around the globe hoped their parents would never purchase. The Gremlin, built by American Motors Company in an apparent attempt to compete with Ford and General Motors in the subcompact automotive market, has to be considered one of the worst-looking automobiles ever built. The Gremlin has a long and low front end, but the rear hatchback is short, giving it a disproportionate look from any viewpoint. The Gremlin featured vacuum-operated windshield wipers, a sizable 6-cylinder engine, and unstable handling due to a lack of suspension travel in the rear and being low-priced and poorly manufactured. The Gremlin was quicker than other subcompact cars, but it was no consolation for the people who drove it and had to endure being the punchline to jokes about their vehicle. Moving on, Ford Pinto is ranked 8th. This car is sometimes referred to as one of the worst cars ever because of its terrible propensity to erupt into flames after being involved in an accident. You may have heard of it. Aside from that, it's not a bad car, and Ford produced it from 1971 until 1980. It featured 2 doors and a hatchback, and was reasonably priced for its size and capacity. Unfortunately, the fuel tank arrangement suggests that the vehicle may catch fire after a rear-end collision. Ford, who allegedly knew about the problem but decided that the cost of correcting it wasn't worth it, in contrast to potential settlements with victims, found itself in the heart of a public relations crisis. Yikes! Ford eventually issued recalls for the Pinto to install a protective screen. Consequently, the company now has a better safety record and has reached our list of the 15 safest car brands for the year 2022. We highly advise against acquiring a Ford Pinto from a used automobile dealership. In 7th place, the Hummer H2. General Motors introduced the Hummer H2 to the world in 2002, and most of the world said no thanks. Even in its reduced configuration, the civilian Hummer is a large metal weighing approximately 6,600 pounds. The H2 was produced until 2009, and while it had an unappealing overall appearance, we found several features appealing. Leather upholstery was standard, and there were seats for 5 people and a third row that could be added for an extra cost to increase the total number of available seats to 7. In the 2009 model year, this beast was equipped with a 6.2-liter V8 that produced 393 horsepower, which was more than enough to get it going. Furthermore, it was capable of traveling off-road and could tow up to 8,200 pounds. There were, and still are, many SUVs on the market that can match or exceed the capabilities of the H2 while also looking a lot more appealing. The Hummer H2's most significant flaw was its lack of fuel economy, which made it one of the least efficient vehicles on the market. Because the H2 is classified as a heavy-duty vehicle, the EPA did not evaluate its efficiency in terms of fuel consumption. However, one reviewer reported getting about 10 miles per gallon, which is dismal. Number 6. The Suzuki X90. The odd Suzuki X90, built from 1995 to 1997, reminds me of a toy vehicle your mother could have purchased to go with your Barbie doll. It's not only little and unsightly, but it's also impossible to distinguish which end is the front and which end is the rear. It features a retractable Targa top cover so that Barbie or the driver may enjoy the breeze in their hair. Suzuki describes the 2-seater as an SUV, which has a height of one. It had a 1.6-liter 4-cylinder engine with 94 horsepower and was available with rear or 4-wheel drive. It's no surprise that Suzuki only sold roughly 7,000 of them in the US. It didn't help that it was sold with the phrase, "What are you gazing at?" I don't know, I'm sure many people said. Following that, the Reliant Robin is ranked 5th. If you've ever seen a photo of a little 3-wheeled car made in the 70s, it was a Reliant Robin. Except for the fact that the front wheel is missing, it doesn't seem to be all that bad at first glance. The first model debuted in 1973 and was powered by a 750cc 4-cylinder engine. In 1975, 1975. This engine was modified to an 850cc displacement. The Robin's top speed is 85 miles per hour, and it gets 70 miles per gallon of gas because of its fiberglass construction and compact size. Doesn't it look appealing right now? The Robin has a reputation for being simple to flip over, which is exaggerated in films and television. However, it is easy to imagine it having an unstable feel, and there's also the chance of the steering wheel coming off while the car is in motion. Furthermore, there is no means to move backward since this vehicle lacks a reverse gear. Number 4. The Chrysler PT Cruiser Convertible. When Chrysler first presented the PT Cruiser, many automobile enthusiasts praised it for having a style inspired by classic vehicles. On the other hand, gearheads were eager to point out how unappealing it was. It didn't take long. The convertible variant was an even more enormous letdown. The PT Cruiser's roof was removed, dramatically reducing the vehicle's structural strength. To fix the issue, Chrysler engineers put an ugly roll hoop smack in the car's center, between the front and rear seats. The convertible was supposed to save the PT Cruiser, but in the end, it was far worse than the original. Moving on, the Riva G-Wiz at number 3. Even though it's widely regarded as the electric vehicle, EV, with the worst reputation in history, I'm willing to bet you've never heard of the Riva G-Wiz. The vehicle's official name was the Riva I, but it was marketed and sold in the UK as the Riva G-Wiz, although the vehicle was never imported into the United States. The Riva Electric Car Company created it in India. The company sold 4,600 of them between 2001 and 2012, though only half of those were sold in India, where the vehicle was initially manufactured. The goal was to develop an electric vehicle that was compact, user-friendly, and reasonably priced. The result was this teeny tiny micro vehicle known as a quadricycle, which translates to a 4-wheel motorcycle. The Riva G-Wiz was powered by 8 lead-acid batteries that ran at 6 volts each and produced 15 horsepower. The vehicle's top speed is near 50 miles per hour. Inside, despite the manufacturer's claim of 4 passengers, there is barely enough room for the driver. Due to these factors and poor safety ratings, the G-Wiz is now firmly positioned at the bottom of an ever-growing list of electric vehicles. Next up, the Austin Allegro is ranked 2nd. The Allegro is another notoriously lousy product of the British engineering sector. The Allegro was designed to replace the well-known but now antique Austin 1100 when it was initially introduced in 1973. However, due to the rush nature of the production, it turned out to be one of Austin's most significant errors. To begin, the Allegro's design was unsightly and uninspiring compared to the designs of the sporty hatchbacks with which it was competing. Another critical problem with the vehicle's dependability was that the front axle often broke while traveling. The Allegro also came with Austin's awful Quartic steering wheel, another one of the company's design blunders. And finally, we have the Yugo GV in the first position. The Yugo is unquestionably the mother of all lemons. This rolling tragedy was smuggled into the United States from Soviet-controlled Yugoslavia in the middle of the 1980s as a car aimed at Americans looking to save money. The vehicle's construction quality was so bad that the marketing brochure claimed carpet as a standard feature, although it was manufactured on a shoestring budget. The Yugo's failure rate was so high that the manufacturer put a hand warmer on the vehicle's back windshield so drivers could keep their hands warm while pushing it. Seriously, the engines would often burn up, the electrical system would frequently suffer short circuits, and other components would detach for no apparent reason. Several insurance companies denied coverage following a vehicle accident. It's simple to understand why the Yugo struggled in the American market. What do you think about our list? Do you have any others to add to the list? Please leave a comment below. Well, that marks the end of our video for today. We hope you enjoyed it. On your way out, make sure to hit that subscribe button for more content like this in the future. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.